Alert talk. We live, baby. What's up? This is A2D Radio. Some real talk for the family out there. Tom Arnone, Ralphie D, Jake Field, Ryan Brodo. We're out here. We're going to bring you a conversation like we're trying to do daily for you out there. When will we see sports again? It's going to be a topic later on in the show. Joshua Harris, Joel Embiid. Obviously, we already know what Joshua Harris is doing for employees that are making $50,000 or more. They're going to take a 20% hit on what they're making. This is the guy who is worth $3.9 billion. And then Joel Embiid, being Joel Embiid, he's a goat at this stuff. He knows when. It's like he already knows what he's going to do before he's going to do it, I feel like. So he knew like Joshua Harris was going to be a crumb, and then he can come in looking like the Lord and Savior and 500,000, which is a great gesture from Joel Embiid. Winners and losers in NFL free agency as of right now. We'll dive into that a little bit. I know a lot of people are really geeked up on what the Dolphins have done and some other teams. So we'll talk about winners and losers right now in NFL free agency. And our poll question is brought to you by Ambuck Services, AMBUCK services.com. Tell Michael Ambrose we sent you 20% off right now. So gutter guards, gutters, deck insulation, everything outside of your home. Michael Ambrose and ambuckservices.com, 20% off. Tell them A2D sent you. Family, it's good to be with you. It's good to talk to you. We'll read off all your questions, comments, and concerns. And a little PSA, we will be on Twitch within, let's say, the next 24 hours, as well as Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter live. So that's going to be good stuff we're going to bring to you. And then one other little note, wherever you get your podcasts at, we're there. You can find us there. iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Speaker, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud. We're there. Let's talk about the important stuff now, and that is the Eagles are a better team now than they were last year. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? And listen, I get it. All right, people are going to say, well, we got to go through the draft stone. We got to do that. I know this. We're talking about right now. All right, we're limited on what can be talked about sports-wise, so we got to be a little bit different on how we're going to bring it to you. So that's why we're asking you, the Eagles are a better team now than they were last year. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? And I know, right, we were talking about it last night a little bit when we were talking about the poll question. And I know I talked about it a little bit the other day. They absolutely are. I mean, I agree 100%. Just defensively, they're better. Okay? Now, offensively, we know there's holes and there's things we got to address. And we'll talk about that throughout the show as well. But in terms of just defensively, they had the makings of a defense that you could argue could be a top 10. Right? You go out and get Yannick, things really change. And you're talking about maybe a top 5 defense. But as of right now, Slay, moving Mills to safety, okay, then bringing back McLeod and Hargrave, right there, to me, upgrade your defense tremendously. And we're not even talking about Parks. We're not even talking about the linebacker they went out and got. We're just talking about impact guys that we know are impact guys. So I'm excited defensively. I think if you give Jim Schwartz some more tools to play with, it opens up his playbook a little bit, because we get on about, hey, not blitzing enough, A, B, C, and D. But I think when you give guys tools to use, they can make better equipment, right? They can build better houses, right? So, I mean, it's all about the tools you give guys too. So I'm excited defensively, and I want to get your guys' thoughts. The Eagles are a better team now than they were last year.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, Ralphie.
All right. I'll agree to the poll question. I think bringing in Darius Slay is going to take a lot of pressure off the young kids and Sidney Jones and Avonte Maddox and obviously Cravon. I think, and I'm not going to pull Rasul's name in there because I think everybody's. Well, I think he's going to get traded. So I don't think he's going to be on this football team when training camp comes. So you already upgraded your cornerback position, like Tommy said. You put Mills to safety. He can be comfortable back there. Defensive line, as of right now, if you look at the defensive line, it's pretty much the only thing that is set in stone. You're good to go there. You don't need anything more, but if you want to go out and get Yannick, let's do it. I'm all for it. Trade out however many picks you want to give up for him. But I agree. I think this team is a lot better. You just still need that one wide receiver, and it might be coming in the draft. We'll see.
Yeah, that impact guy isn't coming in free agency. I just want to make it clear to the people. Yeah, no. Robbie Anderson isn't going to come in here and be a savior. Okay, a guy like Tyler Gabriel's not going to come in here and be a savior. You know, Rashard Perriman's not going to come in here and be a savior. So just to inform the public, that's not going to happen. And the other thing that I don't see happening is who the hell wants Rasul Douglas? You know, reports are coming out there like, who wants Rasul Douglas? Like, we watch Rasul Douglas. Other teams are clamoring for Rasul Douglas. I find that hard to believe. I know there's not a lot of sports to talk about right now, and people are goddamn reaching out there. The media is reaching. Now, could he be traded? Sure. Anybody can be traded. We're talking about getting, like, actually a player back for him, like Dante Pettis. It's unrealistic. And Dante Pettis isn't even that good. He's okay. You know what I mean? I'm not Mr. Dante Pettis like some people are. He's fine. He's not going to make a receiver group that much better. I mean, anything with a pulse is better than what we sort of have. So that's all. That's just my rant on Rasul Douglas. Like, can we stop like acting like he's in deals for something of importance, please? Go ahead. Whoever's going next to the poll.
Well, real quick before somebody else goes, the whole Robbie Anderson thing, I would bring in Robbie. I mean, do you think if you brought Robbie Anderson, where is he on your depth chart as wide receivers before the draft? He's obviously number 1 or number 2, correct? If you bring Robbie Anderson in.
I guess, but then I have two guys who do the same thing, and Deshaun Jackson and Robbie Anderson. Like,
but can you count on Deshaun to play a whole season healthy? That's the main question going into this year.
That's not my fault. You know, that's on my GM. So does Robbie Anderson come in and be better than what we have? Sure. All right. Am I going to overpay for a guy? Yeah, I am. Am I going to overpay for a guy who's a one-trick pony? Yeah. Am I going to overpay for a guy who's not physical at the line of scrimmage? Yeah. So then I'm putting myself in the same situation in a way. Right? Like, signing Deshaun was like a Band-Aid move because we know Deshaun's history, right? Can he play a full 16? I don't think so. But shoot, we'll take 14 out of Deshaun right now. Robbie Anderson is just a guy who, listen, he does the thing he does well. He does well. You know what I mean? And that's it. To me, you have to start addressing this in the draft. It's the only way. And you got to be able to grow your wide receivers that you draft. Like JJ, as a coaching staff, you got to help grow this kid. Because he was drafted in the second goddamn round, right? So that can't be a miss. It can't be a miss. You can't keep missing in the draft and then get Band-Aids in free agency. That's what bad organizations do. So Robbie Anderson, I know people like it out there. It just doesn't do it for me because it's just another Band-Aid to a problem. Unless you're going out and getting DeAndre Hopkins, hypothetically, you're just Band-Aiding problems. Unless you go get like Julio Jones, you're just Band-Aiding problems. Or unless you go in the draft and finally address it as an organization, okay, then you're not Band-Aiding a problem anymore. So you know what I'm saying? That's not like Robbie. It's just a Band-Aid again. But to the poll, I don't want to, we can do that all day too.
I completely agree with you, Tom. But, starting off with the poll, I completely agree. And like you talked about, Ralphie, you kind of talked about it. We talked about what we added, okay? Let's do the flip side on what we lost. And listen, obviously, you lead that with Malcolm Jenkins. It's going to be a big loss, at least in the locker room. But when you talk about the impact, sure, that's going to be a big loss at first. But going through kind of the trajectory he's been going on in his career to where he's kind of slowed down a little bit, I completely understand that he's played all the snaps over the last 2 years. But is that a huge loss? Sure, but I don't think it's going to be the difference between just saying, based off of that one loss, we're ultimately worse as an overall team. Jordan Howard, sure, I think we would have all loved to see him come back, but realistically, given where they're going with Miles Sanders, kind of like we saw in the second part of last season, to where once Jordan Howard was out, it was the Miles Sanders and obviously Boston Scott show. Realistically, I don't think anyone was guaranteeing Jordan Howard was going to be back. On top of that, all right, you lose Nelson Aguilar. I mean, that's probably addition by subtraction. No, it's not probably. It is addition by subtraction. You see, okay, Vaitai you lose. So you kind of equate to obviously what we added with Hargrave and Slay and players like that. And then on the flip side, okay, you bring in Slay, but you lose Malcolm. You lose Jordan Howard. You need another running back. To me, I absolutely think they're better just based off of, you just look at the Hargrave signing, for example. Everyone's talking about the Slay acquisition. I completely understand it. Given what has just happened to the Dallas Cowboys and them losing their center going out and retiring at age 29, we saw glimpses all last season when that offensive line for Dallas was injured. It was a disaster, that offensive line. Now you take one of their biggest and most important pieces. I believe I read yesterday that He was Pro Football Focus's best rated center since 2013. You eliminate that, and you probably have to bring in a kid who you're going to have to draft, the Dallas Cowboys, to where now you're thinking, okay, now we're going to have to panic. We're going to have to reach for somebody in the draft. They're going to have to replace him. The fact that you have a guy like Hargrave to play along with Fletcher and Graham and Malik, that could be one of the more sneaky, really good moves all around the league, not just the Eagles for this year. So I think what they've done on this defense, and we've talked about it for months, that we expected them to spend on defense and then draft for offense. That's exactly, at least right now, it seems like what they're doing. And
no, completely agree. I think like the direction they're going, and they have to.
Yes.
They have to. Okay? Like, wide receiver and corners have been issues drafting-wise for a long time now. So, you have to be able to go out in free agency and handle one of them because you can't expect yourself to hit on both in the draft. So this is a draft when you go into in your first 4 rounds, as much as an organization you don't like to do it because you're an organization that wins up front. And I love that about the Eagles and how they draft the time. All right. But your offense and defensive line are loaded right now. Okay. Both extremely good. Both top 5 on both sides of the ball in football. All right. So you have that right now. So now it's up to you to say, okay, I know we like drafting linemen and we like going that direction, but 2 of our first 4 picks have to be the best wideouts on the board, right? Have to be. Have to, as much as that's not like you're not playing Madden, I get it. You don't want to you're not going to draft 4 wide receivers in a draft, but you have to draft 2 in your first 4 picks. You have to. You owe it to your quarterback. You owe it to your head coach. You owe it to your offensive coordinator, right? You owe it to all these people, your quarterback, everyone, to upgrade a position that everybody can see as a weakness. You're so good tight end wise, right? I love our tight ends. I like Greg Ward a little bit, not to be one of my top 2 or 3 guys. As my 4th, I'm in, right? Maybe even 3rd at worst. But you have to go get playmakers.
Yep.
You have to. Mm-hmm. Jake, you agree or disagree the Eagles are better now than they were last year?
Yeah, they're definitely better. I mean, you have a arguably top 5 when he's at the top of his game, top 5 corner, and Darius Slay when he's healthy. At best, top 10. I'm fine with the top 10. It's better than what we have right now. Hargraves, in my opinion, that's the most underrated signing of the offseason so far. And I think even obviously our offense isn't what we want it to be right now, but the draft and I think free agency, we'll still bring in a guy as far as free agency goes. I think getting Perryman right now, especially with that contract that Nelson signed in Las Vegas, I think it was $900,000. So I think if we can get Perriman for that, I'll take that all day. And similar to what you said, Tom, if I can get at least 1 to 2 wide receivers with our first 4 picks, then I'm happy. So I definitely agree to the poll.
Yeah, and I would say 1. Okay, you just have to get 1, right? But their track record makes them have to go 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their track record drafting wide receivers, you can't just take 1. Even if that you stay at 21 and you get Jefferson, okay, and I don't dislike Jefferson, but you still have to go get somebody else because of your track record,
Mm-hmm.
So unless you're going up and getting Judy or Lamb or Ruggs, okay, then you have to draft 2. Because outside of them top 3, now I got to trust you, right? The top 3, we can trust each other. Okay? We like all 3. And if you go up and get one, you don't have to draft another one with your first 4 picks. But if you don't and you stay, which is fine, I won't be happy with you. But you stay and you get Jefferson, you got to go get another one too. I know Brinkman's Jefferson up and talk about 111 catches and A, B, C, and D. Listen, I get it. Pro style offense, I like him. But right now, he can't hold Judy's jock in terms of route. So we'll see how it goes. But if they stay, they have to draft 2. But back to the poll, they're a better team now. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. And like Jake said, Rye said, Ralphie said, Hargrave is the guy. We're going to talk about Slay a lot. And it's going to be a lot about Slay. But you went up front in this league. And if I can get this line back to a 2017-ish where I can be rotational and I can give guys breaks, you win in November and December. So it's so important to have guys fresh come stretch run.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to go through some of these comments. A lot of the fam chiming in. We have Gongos over on the tube saying Slay is a massive upgrade over any of the corners we had last year. Hargrave is a stud top 10 defensive tackle. Mills can only improve as a safety compared to his corner play. And that, I think that's what a lot of people, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people are missing that, because a lot of people have said, at least to me, that, oh, why are they switching Jalen Mills? Why are they doing all this? Well, Jalen Mills, again, correct me if I'm wrong, he was originally a safety. He was a safety first before he was a corner. So if anything, they're bringing him back to his natural position. And like I've read a lot that, they trust him to be able to do both or move over to safety or cornerback because his high football IQ and his drive to learn and all that stuff. So to me, when we've talked about it, we've been talking about Mills moving to safety for a few years now, because you talk about the physicality, the lack of speed. You see what he does in the red zone where he doesn't have as much ground to cover. To me, I think it could be – I'm not going to go out and say, what is this, March, April? I'm not going to say that it's going to be like this.
From what we're going through.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be the sneaky move of the offseason. I'm not going to say that, because we have a lot to still learn about what he's going to be like, as a safety. But I think it could really make a big difference when you talk about not having to panic or go out and get just a random guy at safety. Go from within. Go back to what he was doing before we signed him. To me, I think it was a really good move, and they waited too long to do it.
Yeah, I 110% agree with you. Will there be some growing pains? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a position you haven't played in a while. It's at the NFL level. I expect some growing pains. But leadership-wise, I love Jalen, because I think he has capabilities of being a damn good leader. All right? And then the other thing, when now you're playing safety and you can see everything more, I think his ball hawk skills are going to show and translate better there than they do a corner. I just believe that. And I believe he's going to be more of a playmaking safety, which I'm excited about. Mm-hmm. And Rodney's your guy. He's going to make every open field tackle. And Jalen's always been a good tackler to me. So I don't think that's going to change. So I think he fits in there. I really, truly do. I think that's the second most underrated thing of the offseason is, hey, we lost Malcolm, which we all get. It's a big loss. But, coming to the downside of his career too, right? But we were able to keep two guys that are leaders in this defense too, and McLeod and Mills. So I don't want them moves to go overlooked because we lost the leader in Malcolm Jenkins. We moved the guy. We filled that spot on a 1-year deal with Mills on a prove-it deal. So listen, if he comes down, balls out of safety, great. You're right. You got Parks backing him up in a way. If he doesn't, or an injury happens at corner and he has to go back there. But in terms of this, I love the move. And guess what? If he balls out, you pay him next year.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win. It's an absolute win-win. Chris Estrite says, fellas, I'm home taking things slow, feeling a little better. Who knows? But I love hearing you guys again. Appreciate it, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, we're sending our prayers, brother. We know you. We know you're in the hospital. We talked about the other day. You're home now, so God's great on that aspect, and can continue to just get better. And we're here for you, brother.
Absolutely. Brady over on Facebook, he says, do you guys still see Philly bringing in a free agent receiver or anyone else? To me, I was telling Ralphie this last night. I don't want to say they're done, but to me, I think there's only a few more moves free agency-wise that they're even looking at making. Mm-hmm. They're going to monitor Yannick, obviously, like we've heard about. Over the last handful of weeks, I would have said, okay, they're gonna keep track of Brandon Cooks and see if they can get him for a 6th. But here's the difference, which a lot of people are missing. The same day that Todd Gurley had that deadline where he was guaranteed all that money, Brandon Cooks did as well. He's guaranteed $12 million this year. I don't know if the Eagles are going to want to do that. So to me, I don't want to say that's off the table, but this time last week when that seemed like it was more of an attractive move, maybe we can steal him, kind of like what we did with Jordan Howard last year where we got him for a 6th. That guaranteed money, I don't know if the Eagles would want to do that.
Well, LA can eat some of it as well.
True. Yeah.
They can be willing to eat half of the money to get rid of it. So
yeah,
there's also that side of it. I do like Cooks because I think he brings something a little different. I think he's a real good route runner. So I like Cooks. He's not the same player he was because of injuries, but I do like Cooks. I mean, it would be an addition. It doesn't mean you can't not take a wide receiver in the first round, though. You know, I mean, to me, so it doesn't. Again, it's a Band-Aid-ish. It's Band-Aid-ish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like right what Brady asked. Do I see it happening? They might bring in somebody. I don't think it's going to be that impact, like an impact guy per se, but they'll bring in a name we've heard of, and it's just like, okay, you still got to go address this in the draft.
But are we confident that Howie's going to take a wide receiver in the draft?
No,
at least in a first round pick.
No,
and I'm sitting here a little bit not confident that he will, because we all know how this works. Mm-hmm. We always want the splash guy. We always want the guy that the whole city wants. But then Howie goes the different route and picks a defensive lineman or goes corner, and then we sit here and bang our head against the wall and hope for better days. But we'll see what happens when April 23rd comes. Well,
hey, listen, if he does, right? If he doesn't take a guy in the first 2 rounds where you think an impact guy is coming in, then this is what you're left with. You're left with, you better hope JJ takes a big step. You better hope Deshaun Jackson's healthy. And you better hope Greg Ward's who you think he is. Right? I'm just telling you. You still have weapons. So it's not like, I still got Ertz and Goddard. I still feel good. I got weapons and Miles. But that's not really taking care of my franchise quarterback that I went out and paid a boatload of money to. Right? I got to take care of my guy. If that's my guy, this is what people say rebuild, and I lose my mind. I got a franchise quarterback. No such thing. Okay? No such thing. You retool. It's a big difference. All right? Every draft's a rebuild. All right? So I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing say, we got to go put weapons around him. Well, you tried to last year, and injuries affected that. So now I got to figure out a way to go get guys who can stay healthy, and I have to address it. I don't care who it is. So you're going to tell me you're going to go, then you're keeping Alshon. So if you don't go out and address this, then you got to keep Alshon, and hopefully he can play in November. I'm just telling you, other route. That's the other side. The other side is them 4 guys are your wideouts. You bring in like a freaking I don't even want to see a Perryman, like a guy underneath him a little bit, right?
Marcus Robinson.
Yeah, you bring in a guy like that, and it's just like, okay, and they're your 4 guys until Alshon comes back. And we saw Alshon and Deshaun healthy. We saw what that could do.
Absolutely.
Over 2 weeks.
Yep.
Right? Or the first week. Not even the first 2.
Yeah.
First game of the year. We saw them 2 make an impact and be like, okay, they both do something different. This is going to be good. And then they both got hurt. So we all loved it at the time. So let's not forget that. We all thought this was like, look at the weapons. Remember? Look at the weapons. So if that's what happens, Howie and them guys are sitting up top saying, well, we said last year, like, we still got weapons up.
Yeah, a dream scenario for me, and tell me, fam at home, and then obviously the guys in here, if you think A, it's realistic, and B, if you would want to see it. And because I do think it's realistic. You draft a receiver in the first, whether that's you staying at 21 or you're trading up. You sign Perryman, who we all, I think, believe that you can get him for cheap since he's still out there. And then you draft another receiver in the 4th. That way you're bringing in somebody who's been in the league, who's a speed guy. You're getting your young guy in the 1st. And then you're getting insurance in the 4th.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's how you gotta sort of do it. I mean, one move might be a Band-Aid, and then you got to draft it. So, I mean, that's the position they're stuck in. Or they go in a route I just talked about. They say, we're going to stay put. We'll bring in like a guy, but we trust. Then they'll give you that. They trust JJ and they trust Greg. And okay, all right.
Yep.
And it's like Reuben Foster days, Ralphie.
Yeah, I wouldn't have Reuben.
We were wrong, but we were right at the same time.
Yep. And we still don't have a linebacker, so.
No. Spillman says got to bring in at least one wide receiver. This is crazy that Howie is going to be okay going into the draft, which he sucks at, by the way. With parent guys we have, D-Jax, Jaws, G Ward. I refuse to include that rat, Alshon. Can't agree with you there, my brother. Can't agree with you there. Everything's right. Eileen's got a good question here. Do you think Wentz will be okay this season? He'll be healthy going into it. Do I think he plays a full 16? He played a full 16 last year, so that narrative went out the window. Yes, I think Carson Wentz will be completely fine. I got faith in Carson Wentz. And as much as that dude prays to God, he better be okay. And then I got to issue with God. I don't, I don't want to go in that rabbit hole.
Nah.
What do you guys think? Wentz plays a full 16?
Oh,
Yeah, I think so.
absolutely. I have extreme confidence, like you said, Tommy, that he played we were all wanting him to take the next step and play, come back from the knee injury and the back injuries and all the little small injuries that he had the past 2 years now to play a full season, and he did. Threw that out the window, shove that right up everybody's ass. That was pretty nice to see. And I'm completely confident on Wentz. You just got to give them playmakers, man. You just got to give them weapons, man. You have to.
I will say on top of this too, while I do agree, that he's going to be fine next year, the stuff that because Chuck's put in the team group yesterday, and also in the Real Talk group, like the notes that he heard from Adam Kaplan and everything, and there was something that I found interesting, which is surrounding the backup quarterback position, on that they're not completely sold on Nate Sudfeld, even though he has a lot of physical talent because he's also gotten hurt. Whether we all love Wentz here, okay? So this is not a shot at him. It's just real. When you talk about his health, given the play style and just the history, unfortunately, the whole, is he going to play 16 games? That's always going to be a storyline, whether it's justified or not. So, in my opinion, if there are any questions with Nate Sudfeld, they need to be sure. You know what I'm saying? That they have to, I'm not saying they have to value friggin' backup quarterback more than they do receiver or linebacker. I'm not trying to say that. But you guys understand what I'm saying, to where if you're not sold on Sudfeld, don't just ignore that position. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, listen, the whole league's up against it. The whole league, everybody's hoping they play 16. So, I mean, that's why I get sick and tired of the narrative. I mean, it's 100% injury rate in the NFL. So everybody gets hurt. Everybody gets hurt. There's a couple guys who don't get banged up, and that's great. And there's some quarterbacks that never get hurt. Good for them. Rodgers has been banged up before. Even the greatest of all time tore an ACL before. All right, guys get hurt. So me personally, right, I'm tired of hearing about it. The guy just proved he can play a full season, right? And he did it before too. He did it his rookie year essentially. So, I'm over it. I'm over it. He can't. He's never going to be healthy. He's never going to be this. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. And if you go get him more talent out there where he can stay in the pocket more and be able to make plays inside the pocket, but still be able to move around and then get outside the pocket and make plays, you're going to make his life easier. So I just don't buy into he's injury prone. God damn it. Go look at not saying you, but go look at the whole damn league. Whole league's injury prone in the NFL. My goodness. There's some guys who get hurt more than others. I get that. But the whole league essentially is injury prone.
Yeah, true. That's true.
That's just my defense. I got to come to the defense of myself. I just get sick of it. I don't want that to be – I know what you're talking about. I'm tired of the storyline. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you.
Sudfeld, listen, most teams don't have a good backup. So I'm just going to go with a guy who's been in the system his whole life. And hopefully he can get the job done if called upon. But I can't go address it because I know where you're going down there. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking Jameis. No. I don't want Jameis. At least I know when he comes in, he won't throw 10 picks.
Oh, yeah.
I love Jameis.
I
love Jameis.
Ryan loves Jameis.
That's why I love Jameis. What, Ralphie, what are you talking about? I can't stand Jameis.
You didn't buy him.
He did just get LASIK surgery. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not. I'm a Mariota guy. I'm the other guy in that draft, but I'm not a Jameis guy.
Sound like one.
Nah. Maybe for a game or two I was, but no, that was a long time ago.
Fight Warrior, can you please talk about why Birds want Deanne Yannick? They're already so stacked at D-line. Continue.
I wouldn't say they're stacked.
Well, I don't think there's a team in the league that wouldn't want them besides Jacksonville.
Right. Like I said, if Howie could have a full team, a defensive lineman, he would, because he just loves defensive linemen and defensive ends. That's just how he builds his team.
Well, and fam, we have to remember this too. And Tom, we always talk about this with not only just football GMs, but GMs, period, around sports. What do the best GMs do? They find a way to improve their team if they have the opportunity to. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about 3-4 years ago when we went out and got Jay Ajayi. Do we need Jay Ajayi? No. But Howie's like, oh, okay. Sure, I'll take them. We'll play games. We'll get cute. To where if there's an opportunity to improve your D-line, which we talked about already on the show, we've talked about for years, that the Eagles value more than anybody. They value getting after it on the offensive defensive side of the ball. That's arguably why we won a Super Bowl that year. It's because our offensive defensive line plays were so good. We got after the quarterback and we protected the quarterback. If you have an opportunity to add, especially a 24-year-old, very, very to great player in Yannick Ngakoue, if you can do that with a reasonable deal, you do it.
Ralph, you don't like it though, because you don't want too many good D linemen.
What? Why, Ralph?
I mean, I never said that. I said I would love Yannick. I would love Yannick. But it's going to get to the point where it's like, Jesus Christ, you still got more holes to fill.
Mm-hmm. No, you're not wrong with it. You're not wrong at all. But it's just like when you have an opportunity to get a 24-year-old guy like that, you go all in, and you do what you got to do to try to get him. Because I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to replicate what they did in 2017.
Yep.
Tim Moran can't have Howie come into the season not surrounding the franchise quarterback with weapons and expect different results from last year. Let's not forget, we also have the worst medical staff in football, and a medical staff that was just hired because the previous medical staff was so bad they had to fire them. So it goes to show you the injury in the NFL. Just for some reason, it seems like it's 100% in the rest of the NFL and 120% here. So I don't understand that.
In all sports too. In all sports, the Sixers, the Phils, the Fly, everything.
It's the water. Bill Middlebrook. We need Cooks and the best receiver on the board at our pick. Let's not forget D-Jax at his best is 70% to play the whole season with his history. Without him, we are screwed. So we haven't until today we haven't talked much Cooks, but I don't disagree with it. I would go out. They're willing to eat some of the money. I'm willing to give you a late round pick for him and take a flyer on a guy. Now it's a Band-Aid move again, but if you go address it like Bill said in the draft, I'm good with it.
Yep, I agree because his upside is very, very high. We haven't seen his upside as of late because of obviously the injuries, but when he's on the field, he's very good.
Yeah. I mean, he's good. He's good everywhere he's been too.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's always a concern on why is the guy always traded?
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. I've heard no reports of him being a bad guy.
No.
So, I don't think that's the issue. And listen, if we can take some stress and pressure off your quarterback to go out and get another proven guy-ish. Mm-hmm. Cooks is better than Perryman or whatever else is out there. So I don't think anybody can argue that, even though some of the injury history. Dylan Saxon says, look at Mahomes. He has weapons. Wentz needs good weapons. He's a great quarterback. You paid him so much money. Now get him some weapons so he can light up the scoreboard. He's an MVP. He's an MVP runner easily. And Dylan, you're taking the words out of my mouth or in a lot of guys' mouth. You have a franchise quarterback here. You paid him the money. You got to surround him with talent. Look what Dallas said. Okay? They said, all right, I got to say bye to Byron Jones. I have to because I got to keep Amari Cooper. I can't take – if I'm going to sign Dak to a big contract, I got to keep him a number one wideout. You know what I mean? So, Dallas is thinking that similar situation. I can't take playmakers away from my quarterback right now if I'm going to think about giving him a big-time deal. Well, that's how the Eagles got to think. You already gave them a big-time deal. So now go address it. They tried to last year. Miles, good pick. They hit it. All right? But then you talk about JJ. As of right now, they missed it. Mm-hmm. So come back this year, hit on one, and then pray to whoever you pray to that JJ will figure it out. Because I can't say he can't be good. A lot of guys come in on zero impact. Not a lot. But some do and figure it out. So it doesn't mean I'm going to hold out hope that he's going to come catch 60 balls this year. I ain't holding out that hope.
It can only go up from here, though. Like we talked about, when we did the show last Thursday. Can we get 2 touchdowns out of the guy? Maybe 3. You know what I'm saying? We can only go up from here.
Eileen tells you try the pineapple hint, right?
I've got the watermelon, Eileen. The pineapple's downstairs.
Dylan Saxon. Cooks has posted 4 straight seasons of 1,000 yards, minus last year when Goff sucked. Yeah, there's a track record more than Robbie Anderson, more than Rashard Perryman. There's a track record of success, which I'm in for. I'm in for track records of success over falling in love with Robbie Anderson, who I really don't like that much. I truly don't.
And that's the thing too. We have to remember, and like, listen, I'll take Robbie Anderson if you can get him for cheap, but we have to remember this. Like you just talked about, Tom, to where like, oh, maybe there's a reason he's on the trade block, all this stuff. Maybe there's a reason why Robbie Anderson is still on the table. You know what I'm saying? Like the wide receiver class for free agency wasn't that exciting to begin with. Like he was one of the bigger names at the jump, at the start of free agency, and he's still out there.
Well,
So-
I mean, look at I'll defer it back to the draft. Look at the draft. The draft is loaded with wide receivers. So some teams are thinking to themselves, why should I go sign this veteran dude when I can just go into the draft and get a young one for cheaper? That's another team could be doing that. Maybe that's a reason why Perriman's still there and Robbie Anderson's still there, is that teams are looking in the draft like it's wide receiver heavy this year in the draft. I can't remember a draft that was this loaded with so many wide receivers.
And I'm going to build off kind of what Ralphie said. Remember back in, what was it, I think 2 seasons ago, when it was like that historic running back class? You couldn't miss on a running back.
Yeah.
Who did we draft? Who did we trade?
Pumphrey.
And how'd that work out?
He lost his job in the XFL, not just the NFL.
Yeah, well, if that happens again, I might.
Right on. You got to put trust in this freaking crumb to make a good pick. Wayne Miller wants to know if this is JJ's last chance. No, because Howie would hold on to the guys he drafts as long as he can. Bruce Stone, Cooks does nothing for me. With how deep this draft is, and the first and second picks should be wide receivers. LOL. Worst case, we can stretch to the third round, but no reason not to get 2 wide receivers in this draft.
Exactly.
Talked about that earlier. I would think more of like the first and third, first and fourth. I don't see them going 1 and 2. I think there's zero chance of that happening. Right? I mean, I will literally put my house on that one. Zero chance they go first and second round wide receiver.
I mean, I'll be happy if they do, but I mean, to your point though, I'll be shocked. They got it. They're probably going to. I mean, they have to get another corner. Ralphie, could they go linebacker? Probably not. There's other, like we talked about, there's other needs that I see them dispersing. But like we talked about, that's not to say that they shouldn't get multiple receivers. They should get multiple corners in this draft because they still have 8 picks.
Yep. No, you're right. Todd Womack, I really do want Yannick, but OBJ being on the trade block is interesting. Jake, thoughts on OBJ?
I mean, obviously, he's an LSU guy, so I want him regardless. But I know the Browns also said too they'd have to be blown away by an offer in order to trade OBJ. They haven't said what the offer would be. I would think probably a first-round pick. Now, mind you, he was playing hurt all last year with a core muscle injury and still eclipsed 1,000 yards. So that's impressive in and of itself. But I think with him having a quarterback like Carson Wentz, his numbers will just be astronomical if he was to come here. I won't be against OBJ coming here at all.
No, I would be extremely happy with that. That's going and addressing the need and not a Band-Aid. So I'm in for it. Ralphie in for OBJ?
Absolutely. Well, how many picks you want? You want 15? You want 10, 12? Whatever you want. Take them all. I'm all in for OBJ. You need something here.
I'm not like any picks you want in, but I'm in. I mean, I can give you something that you would enjoy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Bruce says Perriman, though, 4.27 speed with a QB like Wentz would make sense to take a flyer on him. Yeah.
Yep.
$4 or $5 million a year, I have no problem with it. I just don't want the fans out there to think that's the answer, or Howie to think that's the answer. That's a Band-Aid. I'm okay with it. Okay, they can sort of grow a little bit together, but he's not like anything that's going to take you over the top.
Getting him would basically be your insurance for Deshaun, which I'm fine with. Like if you're spending $4 or $5 mil on insurance for Deshaun, that's fine. I'll take that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree because you need some insurance. We talked about this last year. They had no insurance for him. At the trade deadline, they did nothing to try to upgrade that position at all. It is what it is. I think that was good in a case where, hey, we saw Greg Ward can play a little bit, at least play in this league. So that's exciting in a way, where a guy made plays. I mean, caught balls, made plays. He's not OBJ, you know what I mean? He's not a top 10 wide receiver here, or top 20 or top 30. But, at least he showed he can make some plays, which gives you some confidence. Okay, there's at least somebody here that had a pulse last year. So that's always fun. Tim Moran says OBJ isn't on the trade block. Yeah, and I think you hear back and forth now are just people just talking. You know?
Yeah, the reason why I shook my head at the first OBJ comment, it's not because I don't want him. I'll take him in 2 seconds. But let's say, for example, he is on the trade block. I don't think he's coming here. I don't think we're in on him from like we talked about earlier. They're worried about Yannick right now. They're worried about drafting receivers. And also the other thing that we haven't even talked about is that a big part of what they're planning on doing, they're going to try and re-sign and extend Zach Ertz to where so you got to factor in, okay, you're saving this amount of money for Yannick if he's available. You're saving this amount of money for Zach Ertz to extend him. You're saving this money for the draft. So all these flashy moves, after a while, it's kind of like, okay, there's nothing there. There's no moves for that. We're not gonna handcuff ourselves unless we can get them for an extremely cheap price, which to Jake's point, we're not going to be able to get because the Browns have said numerous times that unless they're blown away with the deal, they're not getting rid of OBJ or Jarvis Landry. So I just think timing-wise and situational-wise, while I think it would be really fun to have OBJ or Landry here, I just don't think it's possible with the direction each team is going in right now.
I agree. I don't see either one happening or being that realistic. Dylan Saxon says, I could see the Eagles going corner in the first and wide receiver in the second. If CJ Henderson is rolling around at the first round, I wouldn't be sad about it. Him next to Slay would be lights out. And that's the kid, CJ Henderson from Florida, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. SEC, I'm good. I mean, I seen CJ play a little bit. He can play. I got confidence in Sidney Jones still. I know people don't, but I'm going to hold out a little hope on that one. But I wouldn't be mad by that scenario. I mean, I wouldn't be flipping out if you went and got a guy that I already know can play. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not going to yell and scream if you go address defense again because, also, running back, quarterback's best friend, defense, quarterback's best friend as well. Right, a defense can get off the field on third downs. A defense that creates a lot of 3 and outs. Right, that's a quarterback's best friend as well. A defense that can take the football away. Quarterback's best friend. So a lot of things tie in to helping your quarterback out. And I know, Ralphie, like we get, and all us, we get jazzed up about wide receivers at times and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I can help my quarterback out a lot of ways, not just by saying, "Hey, I got to go get the best wide receiver in the world." Right. Like, I can go get a defense that's loaded up, too. I can go get Yannick, right? And I can still have my first this year because I gave up a first next year and I gave up later round picks this year, right? I can still work that if they really want to get rid of him, right? So I could pull that move and go draft Henderson. And now you're looking at defense and you're saying, whoa, I don't want to see them anywhere, right? Even with just Henderson. Even if you just go get Henderson, you don't get Yannick. That defense is loaded up. That defense is damn good.
I'll give you guys this scenario, and I was talking to this with somebody last night, and it's one of those, okay, we're gonna get cute moves. Just hear me out on this, all right, and tell me if you A, think it's realistic, and B, tell me if you would do it. So we're hearing all this stuff with Yannick, right? To where, okay, the Jaguars, they're clearing house, they're going all in on picks. That's all they want. They just want picks. It's like the friggin' process Sixers. That's all they want. So we talk about, okay, what would it take to get Yannick? What if you're not only trying to get Yannick? What if you got Yannick and DJ Chark? What, A, would you do that? And B, what would kind of be the price range that you'd be willing to give up for something like that? Because DJ Chark, that's somebody who's very good. He was very good with freaking Gardner Minshew and Nick Foles. So if he was good with them, he's going to be good with Wentz. And obviously this coaching staff and this overall offense. So you're bringing in DJ Chark, who is he's still a younger player who's very good. And then you bring in Yannick. And then with the picks you have left, then you can disperse it. Maybe you only have to take one wide receiver instead of having to trade up or get somebody in the first.
What I would give up personally, I mean, you're talking about a kid last year that, put up over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, 73 receptions. He's in his second year. So we're talking about a guy still young enough. We're talking about Yannick, who's 24 years old. So now I'm talking about going to get 2 impact players like that. So me, the deal I offer, my first this year, my first next year, a third next year, and my second or third this year. Right. I mean, you got to match.
Yeah.
I'm giving my 2 first because I'm essentially drafting these 2 players, right?
Yep.
I'm essentially drafting Chark and I'm drafting Yannick. So right there, I just drafted. So there's 2 picks. Now you have to then, on their terms too, now give them more. So you're probably gonna have to you might even have to give another first away, like down the road.
That's fine with me.
Now you have to be another first in there, and then a third, and probably a second. You know, and I'm in because I'm getting 2 guys I already know can play.
Yeah.
Right? And they're young. So I'm like when it comes to deals like that, I'll overload that deal just to get it done because that means I hit on 2 draft picks. That's what that means I just did as an organization. So to me, you make that deal, you're talking about a Super Bowl contender. That second that deal goes through.
Absolutely.
Right now they're fringish. They're a playoff team. I don't know how far they would go right this second, but they're definitely a playoff team. So you talk about them 2 moves, cool. Now you're talking New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like New Orleans want to play us? No, you don't. I'm drafting Henderson in the first round too. Then, right?
Yep.
My defense, right? So I'm doing. Well, no, I can't because I gave away my pick.
Yeah,
But
you won't be able to because you
I
get
got
a range.
I got Sid. We're good. We're good.
All right,
Real
just-
quick, not to change
Jake,
Not
what would you give up? What would you give
not to
up?
change the subject real quick. We're going with the 76ers whole ordeal. Woj just put out that now the ownership is planning to change course, pulling back on salary reductions for the staff.
Now they will.
Yeah, now they're pulling back on the whole reduction thing for the whole staff.
Yep, I did. I mean, them staff members should give me some money. About this morning.
They're watching the videos, Tom. They're
I
watching.
won't even open. You want to know because the glasses were. Real quick before we'll go into that in a few. But Jake, to that deal that Ryan brought up, how much do you give up?
I would probably do just the exact same that you would give up. What was it? 2 firsts, a second, 2 firsts, a second next year, and a third this year. I think you said.
Yeah, or you might have to give 3 firsts, a second
Right.
somewhere, and a third somewhere.
Whatever. Either way, because you have 2 franchise players that you're going to have for the next 7 to 8 years, and highly impact defensive players at that. And plus, with Yannick, the defensive line arguably becomes one of the best, if not the best, defensive line in football. Plus, you have a wide receiver that can grow with Wentz, which is critical. So
If that trade does happen, say Fantasy World happens, that defensive line might be the best defensive line put together in NFL history. I wouldn't be able to think of a better defensive line that is
You went
that beats
NFL
that
history.
in NFL history. I can't. I'm not trying to be a homer or anything.
No. I hear
But, like,
you.
you have Graham on the right? Then you
Yeah.
have Hargraves in the middle, Fletcher Cox in the middle, and then you could put Malik Jackson on the outside. Then you bring in the Yannick. Then you bring in Derek Barnett. You just keep on stacking defensive lines. Defensive lineman in defense. I don't know what.
Jimmy Jernigan still.
But he's a free agent, though. He's a free agent. You don't have him still. Yeah, he's a free agent.
Whatever. They probably bring him back.
You bring him back, and you're set up. You're
But
good
either
to go.
way, I agree with you. Not that the best ever, but
It would be the best ever, Tommy. It would be the best ever.
it's
Yes,
good.
it would.
It's damn good. It's
No,
the best in
it's
football.
great. It's wonderful. It would be the best ever. You can't name a team that has been that can't do that.
Oh,
And
no,
listen,
bro,
if that happens,
Just in
you-
town. I mean, look at the shirt you're wearing, honey. Just in town. In town, you had a better one. You had Clyde Simmons, Reggie White, and Jerome Brown. That was better. I don't care what you put together. That's better. You know
I don't
that.
know. I don't know, man. I don't know. The depth, and your 4 up front,
No.
almost all pro.
Deeper.
Your four starting defensive linemen will probably make the Pro Bowl this year.
Possible.
Yeah, I'm always right. Just go ahead and say it.
Not always right. I don't know. Hargrave makes the Pro Bowl. I don't know. I don't know if he makes the Pro Bowl. So I only know if BG makes the Pro Bowl. Right? I mean, you can Cox and Yannick, yeah, but I don't know if the other 2 are like shoe-in Pro Bowlers. like you're making it out to me. Both
if that happens, best defensive line put together in NFL history. Beats everything.
It's good.
Beats the 85 Bears defense.
Oh Jesus!
It might beat that defense.
Calm down.
Take a sip.
It might beat the 2000 Ravens defense.
Listen,
I'm just saying.
This defense, you go out and make that move, becomes the best defense in football to me. Okay, but they're not the best defense of all time. Now, if they go out and shut the world out in 2020, then yeah, we can have the conversation. You know what I mean? But we can't put them on a pedestal as like the best defensive line ever without them playing together yet.
We can't put them on a pedestal before they even make the friggin' deal. Like,
we do it every time. We do it every time in this city.
But it doesn't mean it's right, Ralphie. It doesn't mean it's right.
But one of the deeper lines of all time, if that happened, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which lines us up to be a Super Bowl contender because, honestly, we'd have a better defense line than the Niners do if that happens. And remember something, Jacksonville's D-line was real good when Malik Jackson and Yannick were there.
Yep.
And that was his rookie year, I believe. Correct? So his rookie year, him and Malik were even last year. No, 2 years ago, which is his rookie year. They were on the same team. And that defense in front was pretty good. They went to an AFC title game with that front. So, so I mean, that's how I look at it. I'm all about adding talent. But I love that hypothetical though, right? I mean, that's a deal I'll be all over.
Howie, I hope you're listening, brother. I hope you're listening.
JD, if the Eagles stay put at 21 and take a wide receiver, who do they grab with their second pick? I think that's either going to be linebacker. See, I don't want to give you like a million spots. Honestly, I could very easily see it being an offensive lineman.
Ooh, center?
Could be. Guard, center guy, combo guy. A guy I think they can play both. Something like that. I could see it. If the right guy's on the board for them, just because I know how much they value. And they got to start thinking a little bit about the future offensive line wise. And that's why, unlike everybody else, I would have gave Vaitai the money. And maybe a little bit more to be a backup because he was Swiss Army. But I think it could be offensive lineman. And if not, I know Ralphie and a lot of us want to go, maybe a linebacker. Maybe. But I want to hold my reputation on it.
I'm wondering if Howie just goes back to Old Faithful and he picks the best cornerback on the table. I wonder.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So he goes wide receiver corner first 2 rounds?
Yeah.
It's just not his MO. I love it, but it's just not his MO. His MO in there is he's going to mix in a lineman.
Yeah.
Like he might go 3rd round. I could buy right into that. Like 1st round wide out, 2nd round lineman of some sort, 3rd round corner. I can go that way because that's more like not even his MO, but something I can more buy into because at least he's mixing his linemen in like Ralphie yells and screams about. That's what's going to happen. And I respect it. That's why we're always a playoff team, Ralphie, recently, because we value our line so much. You know what I mean? As much as we joke around about it, that's why we go to the dance.
Yeah, but sometimes you gotta get your needs, man. I understand. Pick the best player on the board, but sometimes you gotta go for your needs. Sometimes in drafts, and our needs right now are wide receivers and linebackers.
You're right. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm just telling you.
I'm never wrong. I know.
Well, I'm just saying. If you drafted, we'd have Reuben Foster. He would have been gone. I mean, I'm going to start buying into your drafting now and mine.
He wanted Benny Snell in the 3rd.
We were running around that draft.
They looked pretty good. Damn good in Pittsburgh, and we would have needed them this year.
He lost me a fantasy championship, that freaking guy, Benny Snell. He lost me a fantasy championship. He would have been our 3rd or 2nd back. Well, that's not saying much, Ralphie. That's not saying much. We brought Jai back last year. He couldn't even move.
Dylan wants to know how we feel about Hamler.
I like him. I like him. Yeah. Ralphie.
I mean, the one guy I want. I mean, I would trade the farm for Judy, man.
Yeah, me and Ralphie, we're right here on, baby.
I just don't understand the people like that. They're like, oh, I don't think Judy's going to be the dude. What are you watching? What are you watching and I'm not watching? Just go watch some highlights on YouTube.
They're watching.
And they come back and tell me what you see that's wrong with him.
That's what I was saying to Wilson. He's like, oh, Ruggs is better. Like, what, dude? They're on the same team. And the one guy caught like 80 balls. The other guy caught 40. Like, I think I know who's better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Tua liked them more. Well, because he's better. It's like, more. It's like, these projections. Like, don't get me wrong. The basketball video, him slamming on dudes, really turned me on. But, like, I'm not going to make my decision based off of that. I'm going to make my decision off of watching both play. And Judy's right now more impactful. Now, in 2 years, could Ruggs be just as good and better? Maybe. You know what I mean? But the one guy I know, like Ralph said, the one guy I know what he is. I know it. I know from Jump Street, he's coming in. He might not go over 1,000 yards year one because a lot of rookies don't, but he's at least catching 60 balls. He's at least going 800-900 yards. He's at least getting 6 or 7 TDs. You know what I mean? He's going to be impactful day one. So I know that. None of the other wideouts can I stake a reputation on and say, I trust them to be impactful day one. Now, 2 years from now, they could be better. I don't know. But day one impact, it's Judy, and it's not fucking close.
Exactly. And especially when you talk about the landscape of this wide receiver core, we don't need another guy that, he's a project, or we're going to have him go along. And I'm not trying to say that Ruggs is a project, so don't at home don't think I'm saying that. But we need somebody, like you said, Tom, day one that's going to be a difference maker. And we know that it's kind of rare, especially for a rookie wide receiver. Those things are very rare for somebody to come in day one and be an instant impact. But if there's going to be somebody that's going to do it, in our opinions, and tell us if you disagree or if you think somebody else is that guy, we think it's Judy. Judy has the best chance to come in here day one and be an instant impact guy. Ruggs, I think we all agree Ruggs is going to be a very good player. Same thing with Lamb. But when you talk about the intangibles and what Judy has shown us, Judy's the guy, man. Judy's absolutely the guy.
Well, Jake, Ralphie, go look this up real quick. And then, Jake, I want to go to you with this. I know you watch a lot of SEC. Ralphie, find out what Judy did at games against LSU this year.
All right.
Because I'm gonna go to where the best corners are, in my opinion, and one of the better defenses in LSU. And I want to know how he did in those games. And I don't know. I thought one of the games he didn't have Tua. Did he not have Tua in the LSU game?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I can look that up real quick.
No biggie. Gongo says, "What's up, brother?" He says, "Ruggs ceiling is Deshaun. Lamb and Judy ceiling is Hopkins." Okay.
Or Julio. Either one I'll take.
Yeah, I think Julio. Yeah, close. Dylan Saxon Jefferson could be a difference maker. I know we like Jefferson, but
yeah, I'll take him.
Not as much as Judy. And then Luis Gomez. With a little Carson Dak.
Facts.
Absolutely.
So his game against LSU, he had 5 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown against LSU last year. And I think that was that the game? I think I might mistake. What happened?
That was the game Tua got hurt, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah. So even without Tua for the rest of the game, he still caught 5 balls, 71 yards, and a touchdown.
Yup, Dylan. Yeah, no Tua in LSU game. So go find me Ruggs right now too, Ralph. Okay? What Ruggs doing that game? All right? I just need to know. But 5 for 70 and a touch with your backup against NFL caliber corners and D-backs.
Mm-hmm.
In that game,
Day one.
Henry Ruggs had 3 receptions for 68 yards, no touchdowns, to Jerry Judy's 5 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown.
Not that Ruggs had it okay. You expect that with your backup in. But the other guy still had a touch. You know what I mean? Still, you can tell impactful, 5 for 71. I know Ruggs is more of a guy, big play guy, too. I get that. So 3 for 68 is right in his alley.
Also, Ruggs has 2 games that he only caught 1 ball, and that was against Texas A&M and Ole Miss, and that was back-to-back games. For Texas A&M, 1 reception, 33 yards. Ole Miss, he only had 1 reception for 11 yards.
How many games? What was Judy's lowest catch?
His lowest catch was 2, and that was against, I think, like one of the small schools, and they blew him out 66-3.
Oh, so they didn't even need him that game. They didn't even need him.
They didn't even need him.
He caught 2 balls for 66 yards that game.
Oh,
his longest was 44.
Early on, and then the doors got blown off.
Yeah,
just fell down.
My point is, like, look at the impact with a backup quarterback against LSU, who's national champions, right? With their secondary, like, so that tells me, like, okay, I put him with my franchise guy against NFL caliber corners, and then and his numbers are going to be what I think they're going to be game in, game out. You know, I think the guy's right off the bat a 5 to 8 catch guy a game. You know, a guy who's going to be around 80, 90 yards a game, and it's going to be impactful. You can't run from the route running capabilities. We can all fall in love with 40 times. We can all fall in love with combines. I'm going to fall in love with your route running because it translates, and I need a guy that can do the opposite of Deshaun in a way, but still do what Deshaun does in a way, right? So, like, Judy's a guy who can run every route, but then also take the top off of it, right? Compared to like Ruggs, to me, right now is more, I'm going to take the top off. I'm going to take the top off. I'm a big play guy, which is fine. You know what I mean? But Judy's more consistent. You know, can run the slant, can run the out and up better. Like, you know what I mean? So can run a lot of these routes that a lot of young guys struggle with better right now. And I just think that's going to help his whole career.
I have one more scenario for you guys, by the way. It's not as in depth as the Ngakoue Chark, but there's some little whispers out of Carolina to where now they're, another team, not full Jaguars like tank mode, but they're blowing it all up. Obviously, you hear today that, they're releasing Cam, so they're moving on. You see that they're going for more picks. They're trying to redo a culture. There's some whispers that they might trade McCaffrey if there's an offer on the table.
Bullshit.
That there's Ralphie. There's whispers. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's whispers.
And they're really going in tank mode. Jesus.
You're right.
Because if you and the more you think about it, like I was saying last night, I was talking to somebody last night about it. I was saying, say it again.
They want Miles.
Well, that's. I was going to say, are you giving up? Because I thought of like, okay, a first,
trip,
a third, and Miles. Would you do it?
Absolutely.
Anybody in the chat that won it should stop watching football and not be a homer. And I love Miles, but stop watching football fucking immediately.
Right.
Immediately. It's a no-brainer. What else?
What was the package? Miles and a third for McCaffrey?
This year's one, a third, and Miles.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think I can do it without even giving up Miles. So
I could do it with years and years of picks. I don't even think I have to do it with Miles either.
Two firsts, 2/3. Next 2 years. Done.
Because then you're splitting
wide out.
Well, because that's exactly if you have Miles and McCaffrey on the same team, you can line up McCaffrey in the slot because obviously he's a hybrid. That takes one position spot away from you having to go out and get a wide receiver. Imagine all those weapons. You have 2 tight ends. You have Miles. And obviously you have McCaffrey. And then receivers, Jesus.
I don't need any.
Nope.
He's just like his daddy. He catches balls. He can run every route. But the great, like, if you watch him, the dude kept Carolina semi-relevant for a second this year because how good he is. I mean, he's that good. He can do everything.
He's one of the best players in the NFL, in my opinion.
If they're my 2 running backs, again, I don't even need to address wide receiver right now. Screw it. Go bring in Robbie Anderson then. I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care who you bring in. So that's how I feel about it. I mean, it's a no-brainer. What do you want? 2 firsts, 2/3, and a 5th? Or a 4th? I don't give a shit. You want more? What else do you want?
Yeah, because the thing with him is that, if you think of like Carolina right now, the real loser in this is McCaffrey because they're going to run him into the ground over the next handful of years. And like Gongo said, in the comments below, he's going to want a big payday soon. So if you think of, okay, they're blowing it up. You have, obviously he's at an all-time high as far as value. Again, like somebody said, they'll be shocked. And I'm not saying, I'm breaking the news that it's going to happen. No, but there's whispers about it. And again, in a move like this, in a year like this to where they're blowing the team up, they're completely reshaping the organization. If there's a move that blows them out of the water, listen, it might happen.
Yeah,
It could happen.
Rebuild mode, and you know, Gongo saying McCaffrey clearly better, but he got beaten in the ground last year. Not to mention he's ready for a massive payday. Yeah, both facts about running it into the ground. Yeah, they used him a ton. I get that, but I don't think he's a guy who's going to have a short shelf life.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you use him right and you use him in the passing game a lot more so than the running game at times, and you mix it up well, I think his shelf life could be an 8 to 10 year guy where he's still really successful just because of what he can do outside of just running the football. You know what I mean? But I don't disagree. Is he going to get a massive payday? Yeah, as he should. But guess what? I'll give him the massive damn payday.
Mhm.
You know, so that's how I look at it. Like it's about playmakers. This whole league in every sport is about playmakers, right? How many playmakers can I get around each other?
Mhm.
Right? I mean, look at Kansas City. How many playmakers can I put in one spot?
Mm-hmm.
And that's every sport. You know, the NBA. How many superstar guys can I get to play on the same damn team?
Mhm.
Right? I got to team up with this guy. I got to team up with, right? Major
Right.
League Baseball sort of turned into it a little bit now. I'm going to team up with this guy. Right?
Mhm.
So, like, Yankees win 100 games every year, regardless of winning championships or whatever, because they just try to throw as much talent together as they can.
Right.
So I look at it.
And you talk about, taking pressure off your quarterback. I mean, Jesus, they won games early in the season last year, the Carolina Panthers did, when it was just McCaffrey and friggin' Kyle Allen. They went on a winning streak because of McCaffrey. You pair McCaffrey with what we already have here, again, like I said, you're probably going to have to give up the next, years and years of picks, and it would be a crazy deal on paper, but it's worth it. So what if you have to pay, if you have to pay him in a couple years? That's what you're going to have to do with any big-time player. That's if your biggest issue is you have a superstar, but you have to pay him, that's a good problem to have. That's a really good problem.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I want superstars.
Yep.
Now, if it's not Christian McCaffrey, what do you think about DJ Moore? Only 22, coming off his second year, 1,175 yards, 4 touchdowns, local kid, but only 22.
Love it.
Love it, Jake.
McCaffrey, I'll tell you that.
Love it.
I love it.
I'll take freaking Curtis Samuel, Jake. I'll take him. I like Curtis Samuel.
He's okay.
Yeah, Jake, he's better than what we have. You can't argue that.
Well, everything is. I like more. I like more though.
Oh yeah, I'd rather have more. I'd absolutely rather have more.
So Philly fan, 2003. If I was Wentz, I would go up to Howie and tell him to trade up in the draft and get it and Jerry Jeudy or Ruggs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
As smart as I think he is, he doesn't even bring up Ruggs' name.
Right.
He's just going one direction.
For second place in the East.
Yeah, so who's winning these? The Cowboys?
Sounds like a Cowboys fan.
Giants? No, we're going to talk about most improved teams in a second, but no. I mean, I don't think the Cowboys are winning this division right now, and I sure as hell don't think any of the other teams are, even though every team upgraded in this division in terms of coaching staffs big time.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely expect the NFC East to be really, really competitive in the next year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely competitive. So Gongo says McCaffrey's going to want a contract similar to Gurley and Zeke. I'm against 15 a year for a running back. I usually am too, brother. I preach that stuff. I'm right with you. But when it comes to this kid, I go against my thought process.
He's not just a running back. He's not just a running back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's not a one-trick pony.
There's no track record of being banged up either.
Mm-mm.
So that's why I'm good with it. Zeke, I wouldn't do it for because he's he's one-dimensional, right? He's not great catching the ball out of the backfield, but he's a power back and everything out of the backfield. But he's more of a one-trick pony in a way compared to McCaffrey, who can catch the football. So he's always going to have an impact, in my opinion. As he's older, that impact will still be able to be there because you're not going to lose your route running abilities and stuff like that, like you will if you get 25 carries a game and your legs are just done.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
If you get him out of there and you have Miles, now you're both guys are not going to have to get overused. So you're really taking care of them. Now you have two explosive playmakers out of your backfield. And like Rye said earlier, you can use McCaffrey in the slot a ton. Now, is this a realistic deal? Probably not.
No, but it's fun. It's fun.
On what you would do, like then McCaffrey plays a ton of slot for you, and he gets the ball out of the backfield. Instead of giving them 20 touches out of the backfield a game, you're giving them 10. You're giving them 11. You're giving them 12. And his others like 7, 8 touches are coming, essentially from the wide receiver position almost in a way.
True. Somebody saying the Eagles aren't better than the Falcons. Have you seen the Falcons last 2 years? Have you seen the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, you're really high on Todd Gurley, my brother. You really believe arthritis ain't a real thing. So, I mean, that's on you. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, did you watch Super Bowl you guys were in? I just don't know how you trust anything on that team after that. Like, for me, if the Eagles were in a Super Bowl like that and they lost in that fashion, I couldn't trust nobody that's a part of the organization no more, including Arthur Blank. I couldn't trust nobody. Everybody's fired. The owner's gone. Tell the fucking team, I got to clear it all. It's almost like the whole organization has the coronavirus, and I got to clean it all out. I got to spread it down. I get like the Chinese do. I get the gun out, and I'm cleaning it all out.
Ralphie, they're yelling 23-19. They're yelling 23-19.
Yeah. Great movie, by the way.
It is.
Mr. SFL, stop yelling. LOL, blowing my phone speaker. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. I get excited.
Lower the volume.
Yeah, just know when I'm about to go, just click it down a notch or two.
All right.
What's Wayne talking about? Boston cycling.
No, he's saying Boston Scott. Mixture of Miles, obviously McCaffrey, and then Boston coming in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I thought he was talking about the Boston Marathon for a second. Yeah, what are you talking about?
Cycling thing. I can probably do a mile or two on a slow pace. Yeah. So here we go. Mr. SFL, how do you rank the Eagles as of right now? Now, brother, do you mean just in the division? Do you mean in the NFC, or do you mean in the whole league? And I'll sort of tie into the most, the best teams, the winners and losers so far in NFL free agency. I'll tie into that a little bit. So just confirm on which direction you want us to go with that. Do you want us to talk more about how they stack up in our division, in the whole conference, or the entire league?
He says, how do you rank the East? So 1 through 4 in the East.
I didn't even see that.
No, you're good.
Well, how do I rank the East as of right now? Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Redskins.
Yep.
Giants are way better. They're definitely better, but they're still a little bit of ways for me. But they're definitely better. They're definitely a team that can win 8 games. They could surprise you and win 10 and be better than the Cowboys in a way. Like, they could be that team, but I don't see them there yet. I think they're like an 8-win team, but definitely better though. Definitely better.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, it sounds obvious, but it's up to the quarterback. If the quarterback jumps off the page this year, which I'm not expecting, if he shows more consistency, because obviously he had flashes, but he also had flashes of not being able to hang on to the football and all that stuff, and mental mistakes, which you see out of a rookie. You see that. So it's not a shot at the guy. I think Daniel Jones could be a solid quarterback for the Giants for many, many years. But, if he jumps off the page like we've seen, in recent years, and this, I'll touch on this in a few minutes when we talk about the most improved teams, but like the last 3 years, we've seen a second-year quarterback jump off the page. We saw Wentz, we saw Mahomes, and we saw Jackson. So Jones, he's going to be a second-year quarterback. So if he jumps off the page with the weapons he has, yeah, they could be, a 9-10 win team maybe, but they still have a lot of holes. Their whole
offensive line is a big problem. They still have to fill all those holes in the offensive line. And the weapons that he has aren't, they're basically what he's going to have, next, what he had last year. And the big thing for the Giants is can Evan Ingram stay healthy for a whole year as well? Because he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And when he is healthy, he's a great tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually heard a rumor 2 days ago that he was on the trade block, and the Patriots were one of the teams that might look at him because the Giants are worried about his injuries. They're really worried about that.
Yeah, he's just racking up too many injuries to the point where he can't even sniff the field sometimes.
And it's a shame because I think I mean, you
He's
remember
good
Ralphie.
when he's
I
healthy.
loved it. I loved it.
he's
You were putting
good.
out of college.
How do you guys rank it? Do you rank it different than I ranked it?
I don't know. I think it's the same.
Jake?
Yeah, I think right now you could either it's Cowboys Eagles right now.
Mhm.
In this division. The Giants really don't scare me, and the Redskins they've been a slop ever since they came into the NFL. So as of right now, it's Eagles Cowboys division right now.
Yeah, I agree. And in the entire NFC, I sort of have them 5.
Yeah, 5 to 8, somewhere like that.
Yeah, I think they're in the middle right now. They're right in that middle tier, team. Bill, what's going on? Bill's fired up. I don't even know why I'm keeping my family in quarantine. Trump is throwing us back out there by Easter after last week saying July or possibly August. What a clown. He is financially hurting us. I don't know. I've been trying to avoid the news recently just because it's just out of control. But,
Preach.
I don't think anybody has that answer right now, Bill. I think one day they're going to tell us one thing and the next day they're going to tell us another thing. I think it's because they don't know, honestly.
Right.
So that's how I look at it. When I feel like when they start to have a clue, we'll start to get the right information. But use your own information. You have the numbers in front of you. You know how bad it's getting. You know how bad just Jersey is if you live in Jersey. So, I mean, you have your numbers. You make your own decisions. That's how I tell people. But you can't go back to work if businesses aren't going to open up because of it either. And anybody thinks that businesses are going to open up as this continues to fly off the shelves, you're delusional.
Yep. And plus, it's tough to gauge because it's tough to gauge when people aren't staying inside either. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough to really have a judgment call on when these things are going to get resolved until everyone starts doing what they need to do.
So, Pete, what up, Pete?
What's up, Pete?
You chime in. And then we got the haters, a lot too, or whatever the hell his name is. The Eagles are shit. Carson's overrated.
All out too. What team do you root for? I'm just curious.
With that screen name, he sounds like he's 12 years old. Leave him alone.
Yeah, I couldn't even read the screen name. It's so small.
You boys want to shift into a little most improved in the teams that kind of lost free agency? Want to do a couple of those?
Give me 2 each most improved team.
Okay.
From each conference?
No, just the whole kit and caboodle.
I think I'll go first. I think the number one team that drastically improved is the Miami Dolphins. I mean, obviously they had the most money to spend, and they basically spent, all that. I think they have $42 million still left in free agency that they can still go get players or even trade for players. But I think what they did on that defensive side of the ball for the Dolphins really, really pumped their defense up. Obviously, on the offensive side of the ball, they really haven't done anything, and they still sit at number 5 in the draft. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do if they move up in the draft, if they move up and get their quarterback, or if they slide back down a little bit to get some more picks. It's going to be very interesting. So the one winner I have so far is the Dolphins.
Jake?
Yeah, I think for me too, it's the Dolphins, but also at the same time, I'll stray off and say the Cardinals, just because of that DeAndre Hopkins trade in and of itself is fantastic.
Yeah, I think a team that's still, they're my two. Well, I'm not even going Dolphins, okay? Because I think there's still a lot of holes. So I'm just not going to go Dolphins because everybody else did, just too easy. So I'm gonna go where you went, Jake, Arizona. Okay, because that deal right there just helps Kyler Murray out big time. I think they already had look like what it could be a good offense. So I like them a lot, and I'm going to go. My other team is the Buffalo Bills. 2 teams that went out and addressed a number 1 wideout for their young quarterback. And the Buffalo Bills said, I know what Miami's doing. I get all that. Buffalo Bills are the best team in the AFC East. Sorry, and going out against Stephon Diggs to me upgrades them big time. It gives Josh Allen a guy to grow with, and the same thing over in Arizona when you go get arguably the best wideout football, if not top 3, and you have a young quarterback that already showed a lot of promise last year, like they both did. Both teams, big time upgrades. both teams more impactful than anything the Dolphins did. I think what both teams did, just what one guy is more impactful than what the Dolphins did, because both teams are better than me than them right now. I like Byron Jones. I like Van Noy. I like Jordan Howard. All solid moves. You win 8 games. You don't got a quarterback. So until that's addressed, they're not the most improved team. That's simple. You can go load up all these different spots. Till you address who the fuck your quarterback is, you ain't the most improved.
To me, I'm going to go. What was that?
You become a paper champion.
Oh, yeah.
Without a quarterback, you're just a paper champion.
To me, I'm going to go Cleveland Browns. They obviously got Conklin, who is, one of the best offensive linemen on the board. Some people say, yeah, they overpaid. Listen, in free agency, you overpay. If you need a player, you go out and you get your player.
They got Vitae too, didn't they?
No, he went to the Lions.
Detroit. But to your point, though, I thought they were in on Vitae. I was actually shocked they didn't get Vitae. They ended up getting Austin Hooper, to where, again, people were saying they overpaid for him. Austin Hooper's a really good player. He's a really, really good player. And now they're going to have, obviously, Njoku and Hooper kind of going with the 2 tight end set. Another weapon for Baker Mayfield. Steadiness, obviously, on top of already having Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. They made some, minor moves on defense. But to me, again, you're adding more stability to a team that already had a lot of talent. You saw, okay, you had a lot of flashy players, but you didn't have kind of any of the glue to kind of put it all together. Conklin is the glue and Hooper is the glue, especially taking a little bit of pressure off of Njoku, who I think we all kind of like. But whether it was injuries or inconsistency, we expected him to really jump off the page in recent years, and he hasn't yet. Now we have Austin Hooper in there for him. And also, it's more weapons for Baker Mayfield. It's an extremely important year, obviously, for Baker Mayfield. You don't need me to tell you that. Everyone knows that. So getting him, obviously, protection on the line and obviously getting him another weapon, in Austin Hooper. I think that was really big. And obviously to piggyback off of what you said, Tom, I'm going to go Cardinals as well. I talked about this kind of with Daniel Jones a few moments ago, to where you see, a second-year quarterback jump off the page every single year. To me, it is looking like it could easily be Kyler Murray. I get it, the size. I understand it completely. But you see that what he has at his disposal now. I get the line still, the offensive line is still kind of shaky. They need to make some moves there. They still need a tight end. I'm shocked they didn't end up getting a guy like Hooper or Ebron. So there's still a few moves they have to make. But you just see DeAndre Hopkins. To me, he's the best wide receiver in football. At least top 3, easily. I don't think anybody can argue that. You, on top of obviously having Christian Kirk, you already have Larry Fitzgerald there. You bring back Kenyon Drake. You have Chase Edmonds. Listen, I understand you lose David Johnson, but they were already moving on from David Johnson. So I don't even tack that on to that, because you're swapping David Johnson for DeAndre Hopkins. So to me, they go from a team that was kind of in, not purgatory, but maybe in a few years they'll be, getting back to normal. Now, they might leapfrog the friggin' Rams next year, because the Rams, they're going down. The Cardinals, if they figure out a couple more pieces, maybe they draft really well on defense and get, a few more pieces on the line, man. And as long as Kingsbury isn't a complete fool as a head coach, they could be a solid team next year and maybe 1 year away from being pretty exciting.
Yeah, they could be exciting next year. Murray already showed signs of excitement, like you were talking about before,
Mm-hmm.
So it can easily happen. Matt Osborne, we'll get to that one in a second in terms of the Eagles' backfield, like another running back. But Bill Middlebrook says, everybody says the Bills because of Diggs, but I'm calling the Dolphins win the East. They still have a ton of money and picks. They ain't done yet. That's fine. But the Bills already have a damn good roster. That's my point. Like, you're giving me unknowns. We don't know how good the Dolphins are going to draft. So right now, it's the Bills' division to lose. That can change, but right this second, it's their division to lose. Unless something drastic happens that changes my mind, it's their division to lose. If Miami goes up and gets Burrow, or they stay and they draft Tua, and Tua plays week 1, and maybe things change. You know what I mean? But right now, I don't see how Miami is better than the Bills just off of the moves. Until there's a quarterback, how can we say that? I just don't buy into that. then you're really sold on Ryan Fitzpatrick. I've seen that act. I've seen it. I'm not going to sell on that. Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to win a division. Nope. And I'm not even Mr. Josh Allen either. But at least he proved he can go to the playoffs.
Well, and plus now he's even in more of a position to succeed too. You had John Brown as his number one wide receiver now, and John Brown's he's a solid player, but now you have Stephon Diggs. So, and that's just off of one move. So to me, if Josh Allen does his job next year, they should have no problem making the playoffs.
So losers in NFL free agency so far. Give me two.
Oh, geez, losers.
I'll go. To me, my number one loser is Chicago Bears. They are still in a year where you have so many options at quarterback, so many options. And I'm not trying to say Phillip Rivers or even Tom Brady. They're not the flashiest moves, but there are so many other options than Mitchell Trubisky. And you're still trying to fool us and still trying to fool yourselves that he's the guy. Oh, no. We brought in Nick Foles. Come on now. Come on now. I don't care if they're saying Nick Foles is the starter now or he's just going to compete with Mitchell Trubisky. The fact that you had so many opportunities to move on, and now you're hearing, maybe behind closed doors they've been trying to trade him, but they haven't been able to because nobody's interested. I thought you shot yourself in the foot when you traded up in that draft to get Trubisky instead of getting Deshaun and obviously Mahomes. You continue to shoot yourself in the foot. I get it. You have to say, oh, well, he's our guy. We're going to give him time. He's not any good. On top of that, you drastically overpay for Robert Quinn. And I know I just said a handful of minutes ago that in free agency you overpay. But come on now. That was an absolute panic move. It was a panic move. To me, the Chicago Bears, they're in purgatory. Because I don't care if it's Nick Foles, friggin' Mitchell Trubisky, or whoever. You had an opportunity to switch gears now. Now you're going to be heading into next year where you're going to draft a kid? You're going to draft a kid or you're just going to stay with Mitchell? To me, it was absolute foolishness that they did nothing. Nothing. They had an opportunity. They could have traded for Cam Newton, who I don't even like Cam Newton, but I know he's better than Mitchell Trubisky. You could have done so much, and they just sat on their hand and said, we'll be fine with Mitchell.
Yeah, well, it's the old thing that you draft a guy, they don't want to give up on him no matter how bad he is. They play out the whole deal before they admit that they made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
The organizations do. It's their cover-ups. You know what I mean? They're not going to release a guy right now or trade him because then that proves they made a mistake picking him. So they don't even want to go down that road. So they're just going to hold on until it's over and he completely fails, and they just don't re-sign him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the direction they go. I mean, they got a good defense, get that, but that's a good loser. To me, it's the New England Patriots.
Yep.
It's not even close. It's nobody else. The fact that you let your franchise guy, right, a first ballot Hall of Famer, arguably the best quarterback in NFL history, and you let him go to Tampa. That's what you allow happen, Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. Right? If I'm a Patriots fan, I'm furious that this dude doesn't end his career where he started it. It's a disgrace. Disgrace. And if I'm a Patriots fan, I don't even have the backup option. Jarrett Stidham, stop it. Okay, I like Jarrett a little bit, but relax. Okay, I know everybody's like, well, as long as Bill's there, Patriots, not without a quarterback. Not without a quarterback. I just think the fact that they couldn't make a deal work for a guy who took tremendous pay cuts his entire career for different guys. Mm-hmm. They couldn't give him that one last big deal. You let him go to Tampa, so they're my loser. I don't even need a second one. They're it.
My biggest loser this offseason is obviously the Houston Texans. I'll start off with last offseason when you traded Clowney, and I understand Clowney's a little underrated, but you couldn't even sniff a second or a first-round pick for Clowney, and you traded him away for a third-rounder and two linebackers, and one of the linebackers that you traded for is now a free agent, and I think he's with the Jets now. So that's a loss that they took last offseason. This offseason, obviously, with the whole DeAndre Hopkins trade, you trade him to Arizona. Obviously, they lost. And before I got into that, they even get a first-round pick for one of the best wide receivers in the league. So, yet again, they took another L to the chin. They lost Lamar Miller and Carlos Hyde for the running back. So they were down. They didn't have any running backs on their roster. So they obviously got an injury-prone David Johnson. And now if you're Deshaun Watson, it's like, who do I throw to? Because now you're thrown to an injury-prone Will Fuller, and that's it. So the Houston Texans it seems like every offseason the Houston Texans just shoot themselves in the foot, and that's my biggest loser this offseason is the Houston Texans.
Well one, Ralphie.
Okay.
Jake?
I think with mine personally, I have to go with the Cincinnati Bengals, just because. Let me see, because I have the list right here. Since January 6th, since the start of the new year, they've only made 6 moves, and you have $57 million in cap space. Hello, wake up.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Hello, do something.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Can we do something? Like, come on. Like, what are we
We're
doing?
in quarantine.
Yeah, right. Wait, you're telling me I can get coronavirus through the phone? Nope. No moves this off.
No, you're right. They haven't done anything. You get the first pick of the draft.
You have $57 million in cap space. What are you doing?
What are you holding it for?
Oh, we brought back AJ Green. Good. We're good.
Won't even shift the field again.
Jake, you gotta protect your son over there, Jake. They're gonna send LSU's gonna send your son over there. I don't like it.
Right.
Poor
Bryce
Poor
Blackwell in the house. What up,
What's up,
Bryce?
Bryce?
ATD Radio Football Talk. Philly, Jersey, Delaware shut down. Well, they're supposed to be shut down, but we're still not even shut down.
Well,
To me-
I know the curfew, at least in Philadelphia. I think it's what, Ralph? It's 8 p.m. now? They
Yeah, you
made
got to be inside by 8 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, the curfew's still here in Jersey, but people aren't really following it.
Nah.
That's what I figured. It's one of those things where it's there, but they're not enforcing it.
No, the only way you're going to enforce it is nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
Nationwide, and then you got the tanks out from. So
Right.
that's what this is going to come to. So I don't even know.
Did somebody ask us earlier about a running back? Was there a running back question?
Further back.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go, Matt Osborne. Which big running back should we add to the backfield? Well, I don't know if there's no big running backs left.
Would have loved Melvin Gordon, but
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think there's 2 options here. And I don't love the one. To me, I think the most likely, if you're not drafting a kid, is Carlos Hyde. He's steady. He'd come in there. He's going to get his yards. He's not going to get anything flashy, but he'll be there as a cheap option just to take pressure off of Miles Sanders. I don't like it, though.
he's just been too many places.
Yeah, he's been thrown around so many times.
To me, that's so telling.
Mhm.
Too many
Yeah.
places. I mean, it's always a name thrown out there because he's always there.
Yes. You can get him probably, 2 months from now. He'll still be chilling there.
Yeah, he'll be around.
Yeah. And the other move I would make, I know people saying he's run down, but again, his upside is still very good in my opinion. And if you can get him for cheap as a number 2 to go along with Scott and Sanders, that's Devontae Freeman.
I like Devontae Freeman. I'd be good with that, and I'd be good with them drafting a guy. I change it.
J.K. Dobbins, baby.
Yeah, so I'm good with them drafting a guy again. They hit on Miles, maybe they can hit again. So, I wouldn't be mad if in the essentially second or third round they went that direction again. I wouldn't be surprised. So, do I think they wait? I probably think they wait. Might be like a 4th round guy, but whatever. I mean, they're out there. So, running backs are easier to sort of find in the draft and get them to play day one, more so than wide out. So, I think you could draft a running back in the 3rd round. He'd come in and be an impact guy day one.
Hey,
Guy,
hey, Ralphie, do me because you have the command center over there. Pull up all the free agent running backs. See who's left on the board. Jake, but is there any other name you can think of besides Freeman and Hyde?
That was the only one I could think of was Freeman, but
Okay.
Freeman's he's not what he used to be. So
No, like I said, obviously there's really been no market for him. Like, at least I haven't heard anything of like, oh, they're looking at this guy or this guy. So, if Freeman's still out there, in a couple weeks and you can get him for cheap, I'd bring him in. I'd bring him in 2 seconds. I mean, they brought in friggin' Jay Ajayi last year, so.
Yeah, I just think if the money's right, I think they would go that direction. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
maybe we give Josh Reynolds a call. Wonder how he's doing.
So the free agent running backs that are still out there, obviously Devontae Freeman, you have Lamar Miller, Chris Thompson, LaShawn McCoy, Carlos Hyde, Theo Riddick, Peyton Barber.
Oh, stop. I
Stop
like
right
Theo
there.
Riddick a little bit.
What?
I like Theo Riddick a little bit.
Yeah. Catch the ball in the backfield. Frank Gore, Marshawn Lynch, Isaiah Crowell, Robert Turbin.
Go back to the beginning again.
Yeah, go slower, Ralphie. We'll do yes or no. We'll go one by one.
Devontae Freeman.
Yes.
Lamar Miller.
No, he's too injury prone.
You have Chris Thompson.
No, he's always hurt.
McCoy, LaShawn.
No.
But it wouldn't surprise me if they did it.
Carlos Hyde.
Sure.
Maybe.
Theo Riddick.
Yes.
Peyton Barber. Played for the Bucks last year. Frank Gore.
Yeah, we're not trying that again.
Maybe second time.
Marshawn Lynch.
You know I'll say yes, but it's never happening.
Isaiah Crowell.
No, I'll pass.
These are all
Robert Turbin. I mean, we're getting down to the
we're getting down to the point to where I'd rather have Elijah Holyfield than those guys.
Yeah. So there's really nothing left.
Don't talk that into existence.
Say that again.
Don't talk that into existence, please.
Elijah Holyfield.
You're gonna get Chuck getting a boner right now.
He can run a yard for us. He can get us a yard. Goal line or fullback.
Bill Middlebrook, we need Thunder to go with the Lightning, and he's where I was at. Should have never let Jordan Howard out the door. Perfect compliment, and you let him walk out the door. I didn't agree with that at all. Why make the trade then?
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely. The only issue is there was no chance he was staying here because he wants to be the guy. And while I completely agree that
he never said he wanted to be the guy. It's about money. It's about who offers you more money. They offered more money. That's why he went there. This is all simple shit. It's you just traded for the guy, and you're not going to re-up him. Like that's my issue here. You don't make the move last year. Then don't trade for him. Then if you don't have plans to keep him, why give up the pick then? That's my thing. Like you didn't get better. You're not better in your backfield than you were before you let him walk away.
I hear you, but I mean it's not like we gave up a second round.
Carries the ball 25 touches a game, and he's hurt by November, December every year. If they don't go get a guy that can complement him, right?
I agree.
That's the problem. Like name a back. There's not many backs. There's a few that take the whole workload. There's only a few in the whole league that are the full workload guys. The rest of the guys are almost, getting 18 touches, 15 touches. That's where I want them to be around.
And historically, we're not an organization that goes with just one guy. We're running back by committee type team. That's what Doug Peterson has always done. So no, I don't listen. I wanted Jordan Howard here. I did, but I just think their mindset was okay. We only gave up a 6th round pick for him. It's not like we gave up, something in the top 4 rounds. Mm-hmm. You brought him in as an insurance policy to kind of ease in Miles Sanders. He got hurt, obviously, which was, the first time that's ever happened to him. And that if there was a market to where another team was going to pay him, and I don't even think he was paid that much. Like, that's the funny thing. So I'm not even trying to make the storyline that, the Dolphins paid a ton for him. They didn't pay anything for him at all, to where the Eagles didn't value him where they should. So I agree. It was a fault of theirs. He should be back in an Eagle uniform day one. But I'm just thinking that, okay, they only gave up a 6th round pick for him. It wasn't that much. And they see Sanders as a guy, and they see other options. I don't think it's right, but that's just the way they were thinking of it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a committee. It's going to be a committee. Him split carries down there anyway.
Well, I mean, who else do they have down there?
What's his face? Kid last year ran well for him. I'm trying to think of his name.
They don't have Drake anymore.
Drawing a blank. The kid that came in after Drake, I thought ran the ball pretty well. I could be wrong.
Balaj.
Kalen Balaj.
Yeah.
That kid, sure. But he's more of a project, though. They've been waiting for him to pan out for like years.
They're probably going to draft one too. I mean, I'm just saying he's not going to carry the ball 30 times a game all to himself. There's going to be he might be the man, but I mean, it's not going to be much different. He was getting plenty of touches here before he got hurt, so it wasn't like he wasn't getting his touches. Right. So That's why I'm just not. It just became a money thing. If they would have given the money, he would have stayed. They probably didn't. Like you said, they didn't value it enough, and they didn't want to pay anything to keep him, so they made the decision. But I just think that's the one move I don't like.
Yeah, I hear you.
Everybody, you know what I mean? I get it. You can't keep the whole team.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think emerges as a starting corner opposite of Slay, and who would be in the slot? Avante slot, Sidney outside. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think Sidney's outside, and he's been very good on the outside as well. Obviously he won us the 2 games at the end of the year with his big plays. So, yeah, I think I have Sidney outside. I don't know what we're going to do with the slot yet, but obviously I think Maddox is going to start.
Yeah, it'll be Maddox. Yeah. It'll probably be Sidney, but any shot it's LeBlanc. I've always liked LeBlanc.
Yeah, I think he's a rotational guy at this point. I think he's either your third or fourth. Well, obviously he'll be your fourth corner because we play a lot of nickel. So obviously you're gonna need a slot for that. But I think he's gonna be your fourth corner on the step chart. Is Cravon?
Okay.
Yeah, I think Sidney Jones used that. We saw it, like Ralphie said, the last couple games last year. He won us a couple games last year, and especially working with that DB coach that he's working with right now, which we'll see how that works out the start of the season. But right now, I think it's going to be Slay, Sidney Jones, and probably Avante with, like Ralphie said, Matt or LeBlanc rotating in.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm starting to think too, and I'll preface this by saying I'm not happy about it. Tom, I know you're higher on this guy than I am. As time continues to pass and he's still out there, I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to Old Faithful again for a really cheap 1-year deal again, and that's Ronald Darby. I wouldn't be shocked.
Oh, I'm not surprised by it. I wouldn't be surprised by it. I wouldn't hate it either. I wouldn't hate Darby and Slay.
Yeah.
If Darby's healthy, I would not. I mean, anybody that wouldn't like
Darby, I wouldn't hate it.
If Darby's healthy, that's a damn good backfield. So
Yeah.
I ain't ever gonna say now I'm not healthy around Darby. I don't want, but if Darby's healthy on a 1-year deal, shit, I'd be stupid not to take him back.
Yep.
I got a guy who's gonna follow the number 1 everywhere. So it's not like Darby's ever gonna go against the 1. So absolutely, I'll bring him back.
Yeah, and plus he would be insurance in case Sidney doesn't pan out. You know what I'm saying? To where
Sidney will, but you're right. Insurance is so important. Right? Talk about Sidney working with the top D-backs guy. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about that earlier. Levi. Mel Kiper's latest mock draft had Judy going 13, Ruggs going 15, Lamb 17, Higgins 19, Jefferson 21, which would be to us, and Mims 22. Looking like we're going to have to move up. And 21 to 13 isn't a big move anyway.
Nope.
You know?
If there's some way somehow you can get to the 10th pick, you got Jerry Jeudy falling right to you.
Yeah.
You have Jerry Jeudy right there at number 10. You just have to find a way to leapfrog the Las Vegas Raiders, and you got to leapfrog the 49ers because the 49ers are sitting there at 13, and I wouldn't be surprised if they took a wide receiver at 13 as well.
No, you're right.
So you have to jump those. You have to jump them.
Before we roll, right? Pretty much talk about everything but the Josh Rowers and beat stuff that we really don't even need to talk about now because Josh Rowers changed his tune.
Yeah.
So we can take that back. But the biggest question now is, when will we see sports again?
Oh, Jesus. 2025.
Shut up, Ralphie. Shut up.
Oh, man. It's you know what? If they are going to bring back the NHL and the NBA, and obviously I don't know what they're going to do with baseball, but obviously baseball is going to have a shortened season. But if they're going to bring back the NBA and the NHL, I would hope the beginning of July, mid-July, and what they should do with the NBA and NHL is just go right into the playoffs. Just go right into playoffs. Maybe have 3 exhibition games to get everybody's legs up and running again. Have 3 spread out exhibition games, and then once those exhibition games are done, go right into playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, Ralphie. I think I'm saying July 4th weekend.
That's great. That's crazy. July.
I'm right where Levi said. What Cuban said. June-ish.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
If this thing, if people do what they're supposed to do and they stay in for a month, I think we're in a way better situation to be able to get out of it by June. If people don't stay home and people are running around like Thundercats, then this thing's gonna go and go, and then maybe we are talking July and August, or even God forbid, a September, because nobody wants to listen, So I think, I think if everybody does what they're supposed to do, June's realistic where we start.
Now, do you think they play a couple games, or do you think they just go right into the playoffs, Tommy?
For the NFL, I mean for the NBA and NHL.
Yeah.
It's a great question. I think they maybe.
If you think about it, you have June, right? You have June, and then July. Usually, the NBA draft is in July. You have August and September with the training camps, and obviously the summer games, and then your season starts in October. So if you start it in June, you're only giving your players about 3 months off before until 2021 starts.
But you have to remember something. You have to remember something, though, Ralphie. There's serious discussions that starting this coming season, they're going to starting the NBA regular season not in October, but at Christmas. They're going to go from Christmas on. Gotcha. So that could actually play to their advantage to where they're already expected to shift and kind of delay the start of the upcoming season until Christmas anyway. Due to ratings, and they don't really want to compete with the NFL, which I like, by the way. So they could actually work to their advantage to where they get, as close to a full off season as usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see a week or two of games starting in June, and then them getting right into the playoffs. There's probably gonna be a little bit of tune-up. I think it's going to need to happen. And if that happens, then I think you get baseball guys 2 weeks of like a little spring training ish. Even if they do it up here in their own ballparks, right? Even if they don't go back down to Florida and they do it up here, which they don't have to go down to Florida. They don't have to get away from the bad weather now. So maybe they do a little bit of a 2-week spring training. Let guys get their timing down a little bit, and then boom, they're right into the season.
Or what the MLB could do as well is for honestly what you were saying, Tommy, with the whole you just put it in your own ballpark is what the Phillies did that one year before spring training where they had the MLB team play like the AAA team for those 3 games. And that's what you could do instead of, having teams travel to another stadium, just have your MLB team play a AAA team for about 3 games in a row, and then everybody's good and ready to roll.
Yeah, it's going to be condensed.
I'll ask you guys this on top of Tom's question. Aside from when is sports going to come back, when do we see fans in sporting events coming back?
Not until September.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking around.
Yeah, I think they go strictly. I think it's going to be so weird, but you have to do it, though. You have to do it.
I think they go in the playoffs. I think it could be. I could be totally wrong, and we could be done with it all. So hopefully we're done with it all, and we see it in June. And we're not waiting for the NFL season to have fans. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But either way, it's been fun. We talked about it. Stay tuned later tonight, 8 o'clock. You'll have Birds of a Feather. Tomorrow night, 2 boys over to my right. We'll be on the Fix at 6. And then Eamon at PM will have coming to you at 9 o'clock. So stay tuned. Shows daily. My man Jake, you see him every Saturday, right? Weekly roundup, 1 o'clock. And you'll see him with us. And then Friday, we're going to be coming on the same time. Another special edition will come on around 1 o'clock for you on Friday as well. We'll probably have some other guys in here too with us. So stay tuned. Tons of stuff. Obviously, hockey shows still going on, wrestling shows. We got it all still going on here. So like, subscribe, follow, stay tuned. And like I say, 8 o'clock tonight, boys on Birds of a Feather, we'll be talking more Eagles, more NFL stuff. So as things continue to move NFL-wise, we'll keep you updated on everything. So thanks for joining us, fam. We love you. Stay safe out there. Stay the fuck in your house. For Tom Arnone, Jake Friel, Ralphie D. Oh, it's working this time. Hold on, let me see if I get this one. Ryan Brodo. You got it on the super rap. Ryan Brodo. Thanks for joining us. Like I said, subscribe, like, follow all our platforms for all our news or keeping sports news pumping out to you even through a dead period. We're here for you and give you an outlet to talk. But before, real quick, we're running in a second, but Chris says, fucking July, I'm about to bet on the weather. And I'm right with him. I mean, if it gets this far, we're going to be betting on the weirdest shit ever. So, love you. Thanks for joining us. We out. Anything else, boys?
Nope,
Nope, I'm good.
Later.
Later.